Well, it's been billed as a possible game of the season, and now we get to find out for sure. Summer arrive in the west of Ireland this weekend, and so have the All-Ireland Qualifiers Roadshow. It is old school knockout football. Mayo against Armagh, meeting in the championship for the first time in 69 years. And no doubt the scene set for one of those unforgettable evenings. Crowd of about 20,000 people in. Mayo with 4 late changes. Armagh fielding as selected. Kieran McGeeney and James Horan, well, they can do no more for the moment. Conditions here in Castlebar pretty much perfect. Now, before we get underway, we're going to have a moment's silence in memory of the late great Pádraig Carney, the Flying Doctor, All-Ireland winner with Mayo in 1950 and 1951, who passed away recently, and also Mick Burke, who managed Mayo to win the 1985 All-Ireland minor title. So now we have Oran Navian. Cocktail of colour, great atmosphere, and there's the man in the middle, Maurice Deegan, 3-time All-Ireland final referee from Stradbally in County Laois. Let's take a quick check on how the teams line up. James Horan, 4 changes from the side that was announced yesterday. Colin Boyle, Jason Doherty and Darren Cohn, they all started against Down. They retained their places. So two new faces then. They're the Ballina teammates, Mikey Murray and Kieran Tracy, both making their first championship starts, with Murray likely to start in at midfield. On the Armagh side, just the one injury-enforced change, the team that beat Monaghan last Saturday. Rory Grugan returns in place of Andrew Murnan. So we're ready to go. It is Mayo, the home side, who won the toss, who will play from right to left in the first half with the aid of the breeze behind them. And let's keep an eye on this throw-in. 2 of the specialists, high-fielding specialists,
the only meeting
Charlie
for the
O'Byrne
second
against
time
Aidan
as
O'Shea.
All-Ireland
Burns
Championship.
catches it, whistle
There's
blows,
sole
and
meeting
Burns
up to now
is
having
hurt.
taken place in 1950 when Mayo won the All-Ireland semi-final by 3-9 to 6 points. And already we have an injury.
When he launched himself into that throw up, Mike, you were absolutely right.
Do that line again.
Jarlath O'Byrne, 2 of the great
high
fielders of the modern game. Both of them have won the majority of the throw-ups in the championship so far. I think he landed just awkwardly, did he, on his back or on his arm? It might have been on his back.
They meet for only the second time in the All-Ireland Championship. Their sole meeting up to now having taken place in 1950, when Mayo won an All-Ireland semi-final by 3-9 to 6 points in Croke Park. And already we have an injury here with Jarlath O'Byrne.
What a crowd here, 20,000 people. You know, was at the Connacht final a couple of weeks ago, Mike. More people here than were at the Connacht final, so hopefully we'll get a game worthy of this occasion.
Well, this is a real pity for Armagh and for Jarlath O'Byrne. He's had a very eventful first championship season already.
James Horan is patient and waiting for that injury to be cleared up. And Jarlath O'Byrne also picked up an injury in the Ulster Championship. Let's look at what happened here.
And now,
It just
as
seemed
you
to
can
fall
see,
awkwardly.
he is,
Just on the back of his
just being nursed
shoulder
back to
and
health
neck.
here after falling very heavily when the ball was thrown
Fine
in.
footballer.
Good to see him back on his
Following in
feet.
the footsteps of his dad, of course, who
son of his
captained
dad,
Armagh to an Ulster
Senior,
title.
who won, of course, an Ulster title with Armagh 20 years ago. But Charlie Oak up on his feet again. Game will restart with a free to Armagh.
Long ball sent
Taken
in to
by
the
Aidan
full forward
Forker.
line.
First delivery in the direction of Rian O'Neill, who's been picked up by
O'Neill.
Brendan Harrison by
Under
the
a
looks of
bit of
things. Right
pressure
now it's Chris
from
Barrett,
Chris Barrett.
who ties us to him. And
O'Neill is fouled,
has won a
and
free
that's going to
for
be a free
Armagh.
for Armagh.
Well, he has been the star of the show up front for Armagh already this summer. His first championship campaign.
Rian O'Neill
he
doing all
has
the hard work here.
Really
Chris
lit
Barrett
up
sticking
game
to him
after
like
game
glue.
in Ulster and through to the
Just,
qualifiers.
stepping over the
And
mark
here's
a
his
little
first
bit.
free. Striking
And the
through the
resulting
ball
free
out
is a
of his
waste of
hands.
time
Poor first
and a
effort.
waste of possession.
But he's a player, Paul, we're all looking forward to seeing in action.
Oh, absolutely. Now, he's played all of his championship football against
David
Ulster
Clark
teams so far, so this is his first
made some
foray
impressive
outside
saves
Ulster,
against
and,
Down.
he's a star in the
He's
making.
it out quickly for Aidan
And he
O'Shea.
was trying to kick that with the outside of the boot. The wind is blowing from right to
Jamie
left,
Clark
pretty
was
strong,
fouling.
so it was going to be a very difficult kick around the corner. So
Mikey
he tried
Murray.
just to force it with the outside of the boot,
Championship
but didn't catch it
debutant,
cleanly.
leaving it off.
Jimmy Clark there just
That
pulling
was,
back Aidan O'Shea.
Colin
Morris
Boyle.
Deegan content to give the free and nothing more. Mayo crowd down in front of us. We're looking for a card as Mayo get
Down
the
the
game
middle.
moving quickly. Andy Moran
Towards Andy
still
Moran.
going strong. 35 and a half
Not
years
one,
of age
not
now,
two,
Andy
but
Moran.
3 or 4.
And he's won
Armagh
his
players
first
around
free.
him.
Ball is drawn to him like a magnet time
Being
and again.
quadruply
And
marked.
he's so good in that position.
Made a really good run out,
And
but as
going
noticeable,
absolutely nowhere.
watching Armagh the last few games, they usually get 2 players around the ball winner in their defence, and they'll be very frustrated that the
Winning
referee
a
gave a
free
free in that occasion. But that has been a noticeable characteristic of the way they've
Agents
defended
wonder
in the
that is
championship
Andy
to
Moore.
date. They work very, very hard. Don't leave a player one-to-one isolated on an attacker. Always get a second player to try and support.
Well, Conor Loftus had to kick quite
Conor
a few frees
Loftus
from
going
this
to
right
take this.
wing up in Newry last weekend. Converted 3 of them. It's not an ideal angle for a right-footed kicker.
Chance of an opening
But
score.
Loftus is in form at the
And the
moment.
white flag is raised.
And that first one
Pasmaline are Rovers,
hits
man.
the target.
Yeah, good start for him, confidence player.
Substantially,
Got back
psychologically,
into
from
the game
taking the
against
first
Down
free
after
and finding the
only
target.
playing for a few minutes against Roscommon. Interestingly, Mayo have only
Mayo
2
playing with a slight
starting,
wind
only 2 of the
advantage in the
forwards that
opening
started
half.
in the championship game against
On a dull
Roscommon.
and cloudy
They scored 17
evening
points
in
that day.
Castlebar.
They said 4 of them not featuring in the first 15 today.
Game
This
still
Armagh
settling
side
down
growing in
as Aidan
confidence.
Forker goes past
Gelling
Jason
together.
Doherty.
It's taking
Out to
Kieran
meet him
McGeeney
comes
a
Fionn
little while
McDonough.
to
Forker slips it through
develop the right
inside
mix,
as
but it looks
far
like
as
they're
Rory
beginning
Grugan.
to
He's being picked up in his early
formulate a
stages
pretty
by Keith
strong
Higgins.
lineup.
Grugan fainted to go
Rory
one way, then
Grugan.
the other. Now Rian
Only
O'Neill
changed
gets
from the
there
last
just
day.
in front of
Whereas
Harrison.
O'Neill,
Big strong man. Back
little
to
dummy
Charlie
from
O'Byrne.
Charlotte O'Byrne. He's
Showing
made
no
room for
effects of
himself.
that knock. Weaves his way through into
There's an
Grugan.
offer as
Sidesteps
Rory
the
Grugan
challenge of Paddy
again, and
Durkin.
after all of that hard
There's the
work,
equaliser from the
craft,
Armagh captain, Rory
patience,
That is
there
just
is
a
score.
fantastic team score. Precision in
Good
everything
play
that
by
they did.
Armagh here.
A couple of little
Full
dig
marks
passes
to Rory
inside to
Grugan.
players, just making little runs off the Mayo defence. And Jerry O'Byrne's cut inside, could have kicked it with his left, but a lovely lateral pass over to Rory Grugan.
About
That was terrific
20,000
play by
people
Armagh. Very good
in
start.
McHale Park, Castlebar.
Looks like Mikey Murray has paired off with Charlie
Expecting
O'Byrne.
this to
Aidan
be
O'Shea is
a
with
pretty
Niall
tough
Grimley.
struggle.
Mayo playing 2 men in the full forward line.
All the way
Darren
to the final
Cohen
whistle.
And Andy Moore. As Mark
Good work
Shields
there
goes
by Mark
driving
Shields
right
from White
down that
Cross.
central
He's
corridor.
made
It's
a lot of
wide
ground.
open.
He's looking around
Tosses
for
the pass over towards Rian
Conley.
O'Neill. Batted down by
Pass
Keith
not
Higgins.
quite
Picked by Clark.
a good one.
Short
Still
hand
works out
pass.
okay. Rory Grugan
has
trying
time
to
to
slip
get his
up
head
through.
up and pick out
Nice
the
turn.
pass.
Chance here
Nugent's
for
in.
Nugent.
It's on a play for O'Neill.
And Armagh get
Rian
the goal.
O'Neill with his third
sensational
championship goal,
start in
and
McHale
there's
Park,
that
Castlebar.
celebration. You
So
can't
easy.
see me is the message for
Ball
Rian
inside for his
O'Neill.
Nugent.
Well, nobody
He
will
sets
miss
up.
this. Rian O'Neill
Rory O'Neill,
finishes
and
from
he tapped
point
it
blank
into the
range,
net
and
past
Armagh
David
are off to a
Clark.
dream start.
But what about the
was
left-footed kick
simplicity
pass
in
by
motion.
Rory Grugan inside to Aidan Nugent?
Beautiful
Armagh always
turn,
keep a
good
couple of players
finish.
inside, making runs from very deep. It was only a 15-metre pass, but passed outside the defender, turned away from the defender, lost him, and lovely weighted pass
It's a perfect
into
start for
Rian
the
O'Neill.
Ulster side.
Exactly the type of start that Armagh would have wanted. They would have targeted Mayo early to
Aidan
get
O'Shea.
a goal. and to ask questions of Mayo, and it's worked so far.
There's Andy Moore.
Mayo's defence cut wide open. Grugan
still 3 or 4 defenders loose inside there.
A few defenders
the
out of it.
Ball strategy for Mayo just
and
won't work
O'Neill
with that sweeper
delivers
system.
on his potential inside the first 6 minutes.
In numbers. Back
and
again
the
for
huge
Aidan
Armagh
O'Shea.
crowd that have travelled
Slipping
west
one
this
through
weekend.
Mikey
Will
Murray.
they enjoy that? But just like they did against Roscommon, Mayo concede an early goal and make life very difficult for themselves again.
But
it was a terrific goal, I have to say. And here's an opportunity.
Aidan O'Shea looking for Boy, runs through to Andy Moore.
Down, straight off the ground.
Had a little more time there,
Still
but I think he realised initially. Does well to
ball into the middle,
set himself again.
McDonagh!
It's a goal! Fionn McDonagh responds for Mayo. Well, what a start to this qualifier.
Game here in McHale Park.
Well, we did think that we were going to have a very open game.
Just watch here.
We didn't, I think, expect it to be as open as it is in the first 7 minutes. 2 goals. But a great ball by Andy. Terrific pick-up by Fionn McDonagh as well. And kept it very low. The daisy cutter. Most difficult type of shot for the goalkeeper to save along the ground.
Got the psychological
well, it's the first time Fionn McDonagh has scored a goal in the championship.
Responded with character.
It's only his second game in the competition.
Sides are level in
but he has made a big impact in his breakthrough season. But it was Andy Moran's pass, and McDonagh kept it low and hard and beats Blaine Hughes.
Yeah, just kept it down. Just power, and very difficult for Blaine Hughes to get down that low. But interestingly, Mayo have scored. You know, when you talk about defence, 17 scores in the last 2 games against Roscommon and Down, but they've conceded a lot as well. Armagh have scored 18 in the last couple of games, but conceded 19. So both defences under pressure in the last few games, and we can see it there early on, the evidence of that.
Well, Armagh have come right back down the field instantly, and Rian O'Neill brings his tally to a goal and a point so far. All eyes on David Clark. Armagh go man-to-man for the kick-out. Clark goes long, looking for Aidan O'Shea. Over his head, and Mark Shields gets turned quickest. Arrives there just in front of Mikey Murray. Support behind him from Aaron McKay.
Good work.
And here's Stephen Campbell, who was dropped back to help out in defence. Paul Hughes now from Crossmaglen Rangers. Heading towards the Mayo 45 at pace. Rian O'Neill is making his move inside. Harrison
giving it back,
trying to stay with them. Instead, Armagh go short and backwards. Grugan to Grimley.
To midfield. Niall Grimley.
And all the way across to Brendan Donaghy.
Coming forward is Brendan Donaghy.
Moves forward. Adam Nugent.
Aidan Nugent.
The link man in the Armagh forward line this
St.
summer.
Patrick's Cully Hanna.
One of them at least.
Created
Donaghy again.
Goal, the last pass inside to
Rian
O'Neill.
O'Neill have set their defence as Fionn McDonagh
pushing the back by Fionn McDonagh and Charlotte
O'Byrnes, and that's a free.
That's going to be a free for
It's very interesting, obviously watching Dublin very closely, the way Dublin play. They're interchanging players. Dublin always have 1 or 2 players inside the 20-metre line, in close to goal. It could be a corner back that ends up in there. I'm looking inside now, and you have Aidan Forker, the Armagh wing back, is sitting inside just on the edge of the small parallelogram. So they're not afraid to change personnel very quickly inside.
Quick hands, Burns, O'Neill, Grugan,
and that has the distance.
And Rory Grugan swings over his second.
Good score.
Armagh lead by 2 points. We haven't played 10 minutes, but their link play, their movement up front,
can play football.
Mesmerising.
Absolutely, and great start by the captain.
Sure.
He's had a slow start to the championship this year, Rory Grugan, but he's been incredibly influential early on, been on the ball quite a bit, has had 5 possessions so far. Every one of them have counted.
Chris Barrett employs his goalkeeper David Clark to start the process.
Uses Paddy Durkin, and Mayo's on-field captain this evening gets his head down and drives up the field. Darren Cohn is sprinting out this left-hand side.
Forward.
Aaron McKay just caught in his heels. Cohn sells a little dummy. Andy Moore is on the same wavelength. Back to Durkin. Hasn't got much time to work with, and that doesn't come in quite enough. And that's Mayo's first wide after 10.5 minutes as we head down to pitch side for the first time this evening. And let's hear from Senan Connell.
Yes, Mike, that Mayo goal there, Paddy
Blaine
McGee
Hughes
wasn't too
goes
happy.
for the
He
short
ran
kick out
to the referee to get a message inside to Brendan Donaghy to hold the middle third.
10 minutes gone
the
and
Armagh
both
selectors reckon that should have been a free out.
Once.
And Mayo got lucky in that goal. Kieran McGeady has been
Andy
very
Moore,
static and stuck
never
to the
giving
ground
up.
here in front of us, not showing much emotion.
Niall Grimley backfires
when
Blaine
he does,
Hughes.
it's like as if he feels they aren't getting the freeze that the referee Morris Deegan should be
has
giving
the confidence to go forward.
We can only imagine the amount of nervous tension down
O'Neill.
there on the sideline. So much at stake for James Horan and Kieran McGeady. For the winners, a place
Paddy
in round
Durkin
4.
going
For
to
the
challenge,
losers,
but
their
Campbell
summer
has
is
the
over.
legs.
Stephen Campbell
He has the physique to
has the
survive
legs on Paddy
challenge.
Durkin. Aidan O'Shea gets a
Good work
tackle
by
in.
Aidan O'Shea.
So good in those
Ball is
close
kicked,
contests.
loose and
O'Shea
available.
he
Picked up.
managed to knock Campbell out of his
Bucky
stride, and now
Higgins.
Mayo have the turnover, and it's
Loftus,
Conor
who got the
Loftus who'll
opening
try and
score
break
in
at
McHale
pace.
Park.
Inside to Mikey Murray,
particular
and only
evening.
joined the Mayo panel at the
Gone
end of the
forward is
National
Mikey
League.
Murray. Ballina,
This is
Stevie
first
Knox,
start
like
for the
goalkeeper
county
David
senior
Clark.
team in any competition.
Jason Doherty
Jason Doherty
from Buttershoe.
dishes it off to Conor Loftus.
Conor Loftus,
Niall Grimley right
Crossmolina.
now is the sweeper, just sitting in
Great
front of
clubs
Andy
in the
Moore,
county of Mayo.
preventing Mayo from going long.
Referee
And in any
didn't
event,
like
there was a foul.
the jersey
Referee
pull.
doesn't play in the
Morris Deegan,
advantage.
the man in charge,
Free
spotting it.
Yeah, I'm just
And that's
watching
gonna be
Andy
a
Moore
free
is staying very
for
close
Mayo.
to goal. He's the target man in at full forward. Darren Cohen playing alongside him, but drifting out the field a little bit, trying to leave space inside for him. Darren Cohen, remember, against Roscommon, scored 5 fantastic points from play, playing out of
James
full
Horn will
forward
be
position.
delighted that
Obviously got a black card
his
against
team
Down
responded
last
to
week,
that
only lasted
early
a few
goal
minutes,
conceded
but
to
he was
Rian
certainly
O'Neill.
the forward in form from the Roscommon game.
Conor Loftus
And I'm sure we'll see him in a bit closer to goal as the
taking
game
over the
develops.
free-taking
Well, Aidan
duties.
O'Shea is trying to move Niall Grimley
There's descent
back
from Armagh.
14
means
yards
an
from the
extra
kicker,
13
and Grimley
metres.
didn't move, and Morris
And the
Deegan has
Stradbally
brought the
man,
ball forward
Morris Deegan, the referee, is taking no
and
nonsense.
taken action.
That's really silly
So-
by Armagh.
A little indiscipline.
Just would prove a
From
little bit more
Grimley.
difficult for Conor Loftus.
Conor
Now he's a lot
Loftus now
closer.
has a
And with
slightly
wind
more
assisted,
straightforward
will
opportunity.
probably put this between the posts.
He's not the first cross-Malina man, of course, to wear that 11 jersey
Lofts
for
it
Mayo.
high. And he
Following
lofts
in
it
the
over the
footsteps
bar.
of Kieran McDonald, and Loftus chips over his second free of the evening, and that just narrows the margin.
Mayo
Good
go
free
in
from
front.
Loftus straight in front of the goal, but there
By
is
the
a strong
minimum
breeze
of
out there.
margins.
Armagh would be absolutely thrilled with that start, because it is, as I said, it is quite a strong breeze, harder to kick into the goal on the right, and Armagh just
Blaine
leading by one at the
Hughes
moment and
straight
doing very
down the
well.
middle. Aidan
Full
O'Shea
court
gets a
press
touch.
by Mayo, and Blaine
Pass
Hughes'
goes a little
kick
bit
out
astray. Diving
breaks in the
is
middle of
Rian
the field.
O'Neill.
That break scooped up by
Courageous.
Jamar Hall. There's a Mayo player
Jonathan
injured. Kieran
Barnes,
Tracy
surrounded by
looks to be
three
in some
Mayo lads.
difficulty. That's
Free
a
for
foul
Armagh.
on Charlie O'Burns, but the play, well, it isn't stopped. Tracy's got back to his feet, holding his shoulder, and away
Mark
goes Mark
Shields.
Shields over on that far wing. First 14 minutes have flown by.
Back again for his Rory Grugan.
To Stephen Campbell.
Laying it off
Armagh's
for
all
Stephen
action
Campbell.
number 12 turns
Nice
away from
turn.
the tackle, but he took
But he
too
took
many
things out of
steps.
Free
Over
out to
carrying,
Mayo.
free out.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's very good going forward. He's very quick, but Mayo is up against one of the strongest defences in the country. Armagh have had 4 kickouts so far. They've won all
Overcooked it.
4 of them. Mayo 50-50
Free to
on
the
their
home
own
side.
kickouts so far. So Mayo noted for putting pressure on the opposition kick-out, going man-to-man, but Armagh have been successful in that category so far.
So a brief stoppage here. Referee wants to have a word with Aidan Forker and Colin Boyle, as Aidan O'Shea weighs up his options. The Mayo number 9 turns 29
Aidan
years of
O'Shea
age
looking
today.
around in a certain amount of anguish and
And elects
frustration
this
that
time
there was
to go back
nobody
to Chris
readily
Barrett as Mayo
available
hold
up front.
possession and try to work their way
Chris Barrett.
through the lines. Brendan Harrison is left
Brendan
alone
Harrison.
by Rian O'Neill. That allows him to get forward, and now Fionn McDonagh, that long
Goal scorer,
stride.
Fionn McDonagh.
The goal scorer on the run. Oh,
Sends
what a
this
point from
inside
Fionn
the post
McDonagh.
and over the bar.
Well, he makes
The
it look
Westport
easy,
man is
and the
showing
sides are
well.
level.
Yeah, what was most impressive about that is that he shaped to give the
goal
pass
and
to the
a
right,
point,
but
all from
very
play.
quickly got it onto his left
Already
foot.
a good
There was
day's
an Armagh
work.
player coming in to block. There was one player coming from behind, had the confidence to shoot, and that's a terrific score.
Well, he's been out of action for about 3 months, Fionn McDonagh, through injury,
Jimmer
showing
Hall.
no signs of ring
Backfires
rustiness.
Aidan Nugent.
Nugent
There's a
looking
little
for
chip.
O'Neill, who stumbles,
On
and that's
O'Neill
because he
by
was
Brendan
tripped.
Harrison, and that's going to
And
be a
Rian
free
O'Neill
in
is causing
for Armagh.
problems for Mayo's defence and for Brendan Harrison in particular. But again, the pass was just the way O'Neill wanted it.
Don't
The
think
pass
this was actually
sublime, and Armagh worked
deliberate.
the ball down just inside the
I think it was more
45-metre line. It was an
entanglement than
accidental, I
anything
think,
else.
trip, as I
But
would
it
see
is a
both
free.
players running for the ball, but Rian O'Neill getting out in front. But what's really impressive about Armagh is, as I said, they're playing those 2 players very deep in near the goal, so when they do cross the 45-metre line,
Jamie
they're
Clark,
making runs from behind the
last
defender
year played
into
for
that
New York
space for those little dink passes,
in
and it's
Gaelic
very
Park
difficult for a
against
defender
Leitrim in the
to
Connacht
mark that.
Championship. Now he's
Well, we
with
haven't
Armagh
seen
in the
much
Ulster
of Jamie
Championship
Clark
on
from
home soil.
Crossmaglen in this first quarter of an hour, but he converts the free. And that's enough to nudge Armagh back in front. Just in terms of matchups, it's interesting to note Lee Keegan has now moved on to Rian O'Neill since that last passage of play. James Horan taking action and taking no more chances by the looks of it.
Straight down
Yes,
the
but
middle.
it's going to be difficult because Armagh are continually rotating their forward line, so Rian O'Neill might be inside in front of goal. He could be out
Hall
around the
manages to
midfield.
squeeze it out for Aidan Nugent. Backfires
So
Mark
difficult
Shields.
to man-mark a player like that.
Brendan Donaghy.
Here's
Aaron
Aidan
McKay.
Forker, man who has been recalibrated as a man-marking defender this season. Plays a 1-2.
Aidan
Paul
Forker.
Hughes now comes off his
Laying it
shoulder.
out for us, Paul Hughes.
O'Neill again is trying to get free.
I'm not
Keegan
too sure
is
what
with
Paul
him.
had in mind,
And the
but
pass
whatever it was
was
wasn't that.
misdirected, and that's away for Armagh's second wide. But already you can see Keegan trying to get to grips with O'Neill in there on the edge of
David
the square.
Clark wanting to
Mayo
go
just won't
short,
be
but
happy with
Morris
their
Deegan
return from their kickouts. As I said, Armagh 100% so
is
far on their
calling
own.
a play while
Mayo just struggling a little bit,
Jimmer
particularly
Hall
when they go
gets
long,
some
breaking
medical
ball.
attention.
Armagh picking up the crumbs around the middle of the field, and that's giving them the launch pad for moving the ball inside. But we expected an open game from the start, Mike. We've certainly got that. Some great scores, good interplay, good kick passing. Generally, the mindset of both teams is offensive.
Well, we're just watching how Jamar Hall picked up the injury that he's being treated for at the moment. Went in very bravely to win the break, and his teammate Niall Grimley just fell heavily on top of him. And Jamar Hall is good to go. David Clark just deciding what to do. Keegan makes a little dart off Rian O'Neill's shoulder.
Makes himself available.
The space, and Mayo have got the kick out away. Mikey Murray.
Mayo trailing by one.
Clips it down the line towards Jason Doherty, being very tightly shadowed by
Forker
and being fouled by the
really
wingback
no
from
need
Mahary.
to foul Jason Doherty at all.
Yeah, there was no danger on that occasion. Was it a little push? There's very little in that. That certainly wasn't a free to me. He was,
Aidan Forker spotted by the referee.
There was no evidence of a push in that one, and Mayo lucky to get that one.
So Darren Cohen
going long,
knock it in off the outside of his right boot. Aidan O'Shea has gone to the back post, knocked down by Grimley, picked up by McKay, and cleared away quickly by Paul Hughes. Here's Adam Nugent again. He's that link between defence and attack, looking for easily picked up by Boyle. Who was very quick off the mark there, read the intentions of Nugent.
Going down the
middle.
middle.
Mayo on the front foot, Doherty. Squeezed it out to the back door towards McDonough. Now Darren Cohen.
Still have
Morris Deegan has his hand in the air, signalling an advantage to Mayo. Keith Higgins pops up inside the Armagh 45. Sprinting inside is McDonough, who gets there and hangs on, bounces off Donaghy, still going. But ran down a blind alley. Two Armagh men waiting for him, and now they will try and play on the break. Paul Hughes
ends up with Paul Hughes.
Again, his preferred station is over
stepping
on this right wing.
Aidan
O'Shea is trying to stay with him.
Aidan O'Shea still with him.
And the ball is
Jamie Clark
through the hands to Rory Grugan.
Stephen Campbell to Grugan once more.
Well, Armagh's style this season, very easy on the eye.
Jimmer Hall.
Good enough to beat Down up in Ulster, good enough to beat Monaghan last weekend as Jamar Hall gets through and gets the shot off and shoots Armagh's third wide. But they're finding gaps and their attacking play is very easy to watch.
Well, there's some really good skills there. A long ball went into Aidan O'Shea there a couple of minutes ago, and Niall Grimley went up from behind, punched it down. They won the ball. Once they win ball in defence, immediately a couple of players sprint to the sideline. So that's their right ball,
to go short with all
and then they work it down and
the wind
kick
to their backs in this opening half.
And eventually kick good passes inside. But they are threatening when they run at the Mayo defence also.
Keith Higgins with the run, Cohen with the shot.
Floating it beautifully.
Superb finish from Darren Cohen. Hit 5 points here against Roscommon a few weeks ago. Only lasted 13 minutes up and down last weekend before he was black carded. But he's back in business. The radar is on, and the sides are level again.
Sides are level, and I think
kick out
Darren Cohen's type of player when he gets on the board early on. When he kicks his first one, we might see a few more.
50-50 goal.
Boyle diving in to to make that tackle in front of Nugent.
Kieran Tracy.
Stretching every muscle, Colin Boyle.
Developing and maturing into a fine footballer. Aidan O'Shea. Looks around to see who is immediately available.
Keith Higgins.
Keith Higgins is the best option.
Lee Keegan.
Former Footballer of the Year, Lee Keegan.
Cohen is again the intended target. Tries to touch it off towards Andy Moore.
Gets there ahead of
But good corner back play by Paddy Burns.
Mark Shields.
Tidies it up and gives it to Mark Shields. Man who likes to drift around the field and could pop up anywhere. Now Brendan Donaghy. He's the stay-at-home number 6.
Brendan Donaghy.
Mayo just forcing Armagh to work a little.
Paul Hughes.
To get out of their own 45. Now Stephen Campbell.
Lays it off for Stephen
Gives
Campbell.
the overlap to Hughes. Campbell holds off Durkin.
Putting in the challenge.
Up the line for Clark. Good defensive play by Barrett, the 2017 All-Star. Hip to hip with Clark. Higgins didn't spot Rian O'Neill on his blind side, who does really well to win it back and feed Charlie O'Byrne. He's got options, left and right. Jamie Clark almost left it behind.
Heads towards goal,
weaves his way through, trying to make an angle.
The control is deadly. The left boot is deadly.
Shot over the shoulder, drifts away and wide. Well, a move that promised much more.
Well, Mayo were very lucky in that instance. I think it might have been, was it Mikey Murray that just dropped the ball in around the centre half forward position and just got his hands to it, hit the ground on a good pressure by Rian O'Neill coming
the short
from
kick out.
The full forward position, and Jamie Clark managed to manoeuvre himself into a position to shoot very easily with 3 Mayo players around him, and James Horn will not be happy with the defending
to Keith Higgins.
Right now, teams level for the 4th time here at McHale Park in Castlebar. Andy Moore has drifted out from the inside line just to get his hands on some ball.
Now gotten past it, as you can see.
Paddy Durkin, nothing on down the middle.
Darren
Cohen takes over. Brendan Donaghy is sitting right in front of Conor Loftus. That's why Mayo are being forced to play this ball around and bide their time and wait for an opening. Armagh have withdrawn 14 men.
The instruction is to head towards the start. Lee Keegan. Aidan O'Shea. Gone past the first
past O'Neill.
Now the
Nugent. O'Shea is running right down the barrel of the gun. Tried to slip that one past to Murray, but really good defensive play by Armagh. They didn't foul. They waited for their opportunity and then they struck. Now Niall Grimley. Plenty of space up top for Jamie Clark to run into. His first touch is poor. His second is much better.
Recovery by Jamie
Rolls it inside to Mark Shields. Mayo still funneling players back as Mark Shields
chance of a score here perhaps. Stephen Campbell
is the furthest man forward, and Stephen Campbell was never going to miss from there.
Very good play, Armagh.
Quick break by Armagh, and Campbell with the finish.
Well, that's a 2-point turnaround because Aidan O'Shea, poor decision making. He carried the ball through really well, bypassed a couple of players, an easy chance to pop it over the bar with his left or his right foot, or even with his fist, because he has the wind with him. Took the wrong option, went for a short pass. It was inaccurate, and Armagh counter-attacked at pace. So
it's delivered.
Can't afford
quick ball inside.
To be making errors like that, mental errors like that inside when they have chances in front of goal. But very good score by Armagh.
But nobody in a green and red jersey.
Stephen Campbell becoming the 4th different Armagh player to score tonight. Here's Niall Grimley. Coming into the game with an elbow injury. He has some strapping on that right arm. Aidan Forker slows it down, then tries to pick up the pace again.
The challenge from Paddy Durkin. Niall Grimley.
Mayo's spare man just now is Colin Boyle.
Aidan Forker.
Trying to read the intentions of
Ends up again with Niall Grimley.
Niall Grimley again
decides the Madden Rapparees Club
to go backwards to try and get Armagh moving forward. We're into the last 10 minutes of normal time at the end of the first half.
From Drummond St Patrick's Club.
Big crowd captivated by what we've seen so far.
Wonderful club in South Armagh.
And very little to choose between them.
Very little to choose. Armagh have had 9 shots at goal to Mayo 7, playing against the wind.
Forward.
That's a really good return.
Great pressure by Mayo.
Good play by Mikey Murray, getting his hands dirty to win that dirty ball, and the free quickly taken. Here's Lee Keegan.
He's looking at
Keegan in full flight
on his own. He loses
between
possession.
Donaghy and McKay, they managed to knock the ball out of his hands.
Back there in numbers.
And Donaghy is there to tidy it up.
Brendan Donaghy.
And they'll go back to Blaine Hughes, the goalkeeper.
And the goalkeeper.
But that's a few times now. Mayo have found a gap down the middle. but have been unable to finish.
Yeah, and it's noticeable for both teams, just carrying it that extra couple of metres and carrying it into traffic and having the ball stripped away. Good defence by Mayo, but again, Lee Keegan
into
had the opportunity to kick the point before taking that last solo and coughed up possession to Armagh, and
registered
they
a goal
build
on
up
the
again.
point.
Jarlath Burns hugging this near sideline. Nobody at home in the full forward line, so Burns will carry it on.
Intimidated by the reputation
Turns
of Mayo.
into Boyle and Murray, and between the two of them, they double up and they force Burns to overcarry.
A little bit frustrated.
And that
I
one
can
of
feel
the
his pain
secrets
here,
of Mayo's
because there was
success
little or no support
over the last 5-6 seasons. That ability to wrap up the ball carrier, forced him to overcarry.
Just took his eye off it, and good
and
work
now
by
they're on the
Brendan
attack
Donaghy
through
in particular.
Fionn McDonagh, the man who scored their goal earlier in the half.
Fionn McDonagh.
He's going to try and run Jamar Hall, eating up the ground. Here's the call of Kieran Tracy.
But look
scored a goal in the league final, but again he runs into the cul-de-sac. Ball breaks to Andy Moran. Moran, though, is swallowed up by the cover very quickly.
And Maurice Teagan gives the free
scramble defence there, just denying Moran any sort of time and space, and it's a free out.
Well, both sides really defending in numbers here. A super pickup on his left foot.
1, 2, 3, 4,
but you can see 4 players inside very quickly.
Representing the beautiful Orchard County.
And he just falls into, I think it was Brendan Donaghy on that occasion, but the last couple of minutes characterised by really good defence, but probably poor decision making by the player in possession, just carrying it a little bit long.
James Horn could have a problem
too
here
far,
in Castlebar.
and both sides again tackling in numbers.
Well, Mayo went out of the 2018 championship exactly 1 year ago today against Kildare up in Newbridge. Armagh bidding this evening to succeed where the likes of Fermanagh and Derry have failed in recent seasons, and win here in Castlebar in a qualifier. But they've made a really, really positive start, Paul. And Kieran McGeeney must be very pleased with that scoreline.
Well, absolutely, and also around the middle of the field has limited the influence, in particular of Aidan O'Shea, who's had a great season so far. Aidan, generally at this stage of a game, would be up in 14, 15, 16 possessions. He's only had 6 so far, so they've kind of bypassed him in the middle, had him kicked out long in his general direction, and he hasn't been on the ball very much.
Grimley got a touch. Push on the back.
Adam Nugent there and Niall Grimley just seeming to get in each other's way.
He doesn't argue, he just wants to get on with the game.
Has handled more ball than any other Armagh player so far, by the way. 10 possessions.
But there's little or no option, to be honest. Keith Higgins makes the run.
To take it quickly.
Colin Boyle goes for distance.
And now decides to pump it in long, in towards Kieran Tracy. Broken down by Paul Hughes.
Coming in as
out
Brendan
to the corner goes Andy Moran.
Moran goes down. But look at the pressure again.
Now Fionn McDonagh. Again, his first instinct is to drive for goal. McDonagh hooks it in. Looking for the spectacular score. Just away to the right and wide. That's his second miss of the evening. But he's such an exciting young player, Fionn McDonagh.
Glenn Hughes.
Worked under James Horan in Westport last year.
Shot, easily picked up by Lee Keegan.
Bedded in very nicely
Colin
at inter-county level. Here's Colin Boyle with the outside of the right. Turns away, doesn't look happy.
Not gaining anything from it.
2 wides in about 30 seconds for Mayo.
2 wides in 30 seconds, and 2 shots from their wing backs. Paddy Durkin had a wide earlier on. Colin Boyle another wide. Again, 9 shots at goal for a team that has the wind after 30 minutes isn't good.
Well, we're hearing Mayo are getting ready to bring in that man, Kevin McLaughlin, any moment now.
Right now, you have to say that Mayo are being stretched as well.
He certainly has left the dugout.
This young Armagh side are playing with confidence.
Ready to be introduced any moment as Jamie Clark gets on the ball. Armagh's
really good
second top scorer so far this summer. Again, he's pursued by Barrett, his shadow.
The ball.
Higgins is there as well, as is Aidan O'Shea. Not for the first time, Jamie Clark just running up a dead end, and Mayo will try and play on the break. McDonagh drilling that ball out to the far side.
Darren Cohen has
asking a lot of Darren Cohen, but he does well. Tries to lift it on the run, gets it at the second bite.
Still Darren Cohen floating
across for Loftus,
coming across, ball is available.
And that was a crucial interception by Paul Hughes, who read the intentions of the Mayo men and manages to get it away.
Mikey Murray available.
Ball lost up.
Here comes Andy Moran.
And Andy Moran will have another go.
Inside. Wants to lay it
Moore
back. Fires
back to
McDonough once
McDonough.
again. Little shimmy. Makes the
This
space
is
for
Kieran
Kieran
Tracy.
Tracy. It's
Gets room
high, but it's
to
also very
squeeze the
wide.
shot away. And that's now a fourth wide, a third in a few minutes.
Well, a third in a row with a strong wind behind, and you're a point behind against a Armagh team that's playing very well. Those misses could come back to haunt them. The same thing happened against Roscommon, we remember, in the Connacht semi-final. They had 36, I think it was, shots at goal, had 11 or 12 wides.
Well, Andy Moran's 80th championship appearance is going to end before half-time here.
Andy
Kevin
Moran goes
McLaughlin
off.
introduced,
Kevin McLaughlin
lost his
comes
place
on.
for this game. Paul, what do you make of that change?
Well, Andy looks a bit bemused because he looked over at the sideline a couple of times, and like he's had 8 possessions so far. You know, maybe Mayo are just not happy. They want to play a different type of game. Preparing for the second half, I think.
Blaine Hughes.
It's a strange one, I have to say.
Stephen
You need
Campbell.
experienced players at this stage, somebody who's going to get on the ball and kick, you know, have a
Brendan
high
Donaghy will
percentage
go back to his
accuracy when they
keeper.
do take a shot at goal. And you know, the last 3 shots were taken from long, difficult angles. So I'm surprised at that
Still
one.
Blaine Hughes.
Here's Blaine Hughes, plays quite a
Setting
bit of
up
football
Mark
outfield for
Shields.
Carrick Cruppen, and didn't seem phased there as they
Great
headed out
pressure.
towards the 45.
Fullback to
But
Jason Doherty.
Armagh
And there was
tied
a free
themselves
for
up in a
Mayo.
bit of a knot in the middle of the field. Now Mayo have won a free here, but just off the ball.
Lee Keegan is the
has
player
gone
that's down injured.
I think he may have twisted his ankle awkwardly. Didn't seem to be anybody near him. But as you will have noticed a moment ago, it's now 12 minutes and heading towards 13 minutes since Mayo last scored. And obviously, James Horan not happy with the way that inside line was functioning.
Well,
And it's the 2017 Footballer of the Year, Andy Moran, who's made way.
yeah, well, I have to say, though, that Mayo have they were only playing one player inside. Hard to see on TV, but only playing one player inside the full forward line. And when they had the ball around the middle of the field, there were lots of Mayo players outside the 45-metre line, but only one inside, with 4 or 5 Armagh players ahead. So it's very difficult for the full forward to
This is the
find
incident
space in that
between
situation.
Brian O'Neill and
Well, just
Lee
there
Keegan.
in the centre
Obviously,
of your picture,
it
you
was
can
just
see
an
how
entanglement, and Lee Keegan
I think, picked up that
suffered that leg injury.
initially. Now, whether it was accidental or not, he was running for the ball
Lee
with Rian
Keegan,
O'Neill, and
Footballer
this
of the Year.
doesn't
few
look good at
seasons
all
ago,
from Mayo perspective. Keegan being held
leaves
from the field.
The arena
It's either a
in a lot
twisted
of pain,
ankle,
and his departure is a
stamp.
massive blow.
and hard to see
Mayo.
from the camera angle, but there was certainly contact.
Well, they have had a wretched run with injuries recently, Mayo. Matthew
Stephen
Ruan
Cohen is
out
coming
with a
on in
broken
his place.
collarbone. Diarmuid O'Connor out with a broken wrist, and now James Horan is watching the 2016
times for
Footballer
James
of the Year,
Horan.
Lee Keegan,
When he
being held
sees
off,
one of his
and
best
Stephen
footballers
Cohen
leave
is in.
the field.
Well, as somebody said during the week, if Mayo didn't have bad luck at the
Ain't no
moment, they
shame.
wouldn't have any luck at all.
Well, that's
There's
true.
Jason Doherty.
And, a couple of those serious injuries
looking
happened in
good. The
training as well.
crowd
So
love
there
an impassive
have been
ball.
some questions asked about
And that's over the
what's
bar.
going on in training, but it may have been just bad luck. But that's a terrific score.
Very good play,
Well,
Jason
Jason
Doherty.
Doherty gets Mayo back on track. They've gone almost a
Sides
quarter
are
of an
level
hour
again.
without a score, and Jason Doherty ends that barren spell
Brilliant
in
score
some
by
style.
the
That's his
Burshula.
first of the match.
Well, they need the experienced players to come to the fore now, and perhaps one of the reasons they're bringing in Kevin
bit of
McLaughlin is
afters
just to give it that bit more
as
energy.
well.
Kevin McLaughlin does a lot of hard running, a lot of work. His work rate in the forward line, he can drop
Morris
back around
Deegan
back at the midfield as well. And perhaps that's what
spotted
they're looking for, because
the
game in the
infringement.
last 7 or 8 minutes has just been
And
characterised by players running
can afford a smile with
into a
Jason
blanket
Doherty.
defence and carrying the ball too long, and a bit of poor decision making.
So
Following
Morris
the
Deegan has
clash
called in Jarly O'Byrne
with
and Jason Doherty. They
Jarlath
did collide
O'Byrne's.
after Doherty kicked that point a moment ago.
Good officiating by the man in
I
charge,
think the
Morris
referee has
Deegan.
been brought up to speed by
Referee
his linesman
3 All-Ireland
on
finals
the
himself.
far
Yellow
side.
card for the 2 boys.
And it's a yellow for Burns and a yellow for Jason Doherty. So both players in the book. Teams level for the 5th time in Castlebar. And
Kick out
that's
goes straight out over the
an
sideline.
unforced error by Blaine Hughes. Poor kick out goes out over the line on the far side. We're
Mikey
going to have
Murray.
at least 4 minutes of additional time on a very
At least 4 minutes of
muggy
injury
evening here
time
in
going to be
Castlebar.
added on in McHale Park.
Paddy Durkin.
This is a great run by Paddy
There's that
Durkin.
dummy solo
And the
of
space
his,
is opened
bounces
up
off
in
the
front of
defender,
him.
and Durkin
Scintillating
swings
run.
it up and over the bar.
Well, it's noticeable, isn't it, that your experienced players have come to the fore. They got 3
If you
points,
wanted a little
3
bit of
wides in a row.
inspiration, then
And
this is the
Jason
man.
Doherty kicks a great one. Paddy Durkin
Brilliant.
just takes on 2 or 3
Absolutely
defenders and
brilliant.
goes by. Exactly what Mayo need at this stage of the game.
That's now 5 different Mayo
Aidan
players who have
O'Shea,
scored as
great
Aidan
catch.
O'Shea catches the kick
No
out,
hanging about,
claims
no
the
messing
mark, and
about.
gets Mayo going forward
Kevin
again.
McLaughlin. Outside
with the
the D.
snapshot, just
This one is
pumping it
dropping
in towards the
outside
Armagh
the
goal.
box.
Not long on the field. Adrenaline pumping as well, I think, and that's a 5th miss for Mayo.
Yeah, but Mayo are at their best when they're putting huge pressure on
Fabulous catch,
the
Aidan
Armagh
O'Shea.
kick out. The previous one we saw, Blaine Hughes kicked it out over the sideline.
That's
Mayo got
why
a
Mayo
score
people
from that.
love him.
And again, on that one, should have got a score from that one when Aidan O'Shea wins. The first
Fine football.
mark he's got in the game. First high catch in the middle of the field.
Here comes Blaine Hughes.
This time Blaine Hughes goes to the right wing, finds his
Charlie
target, Charlie
O'Burns.
O'Burns, but he spilled
Just
it when he landed.
lost the possession
and
and
Kieran
landed.
Tracy reacts quickest to the break.
Nice
Now Doherty,
skill by Kieran
filling in
Tracy.
as playmaker, calling
Jason
McLaughlin
Doherty.
to come out to meet
Not
him,
a good
trying
ball.
to thread
Could
it
still
through
work out.
towards the
Where is
inside
it?
forward,
It's
who's
Gemma
also
Hall.
picked up a bang, I think, going for that ball.
Now Hall has
As
it
Armagh
himself.
break, and Morris Deegan is going to stop the play. I think
It's
he feels
frustrating
Kevin
the
McLaughlin may
Armagh
have
team.
sustained a
He's
head
blown his
injury,
whistle.
and he's not
But
prepared
really,
to let
he
Armagh
obviously
break.
spotted
And
that Kevin
Armagh
McLaughlin
furious with
picked
the
up
decision.
a nasty blow here.
McLaughlin in the
or an
wars
injury.
and only on the field a matter
Felt
of minutes.
You can see it here.
He
There,
had to protect the player here.
Jamar Hall just went tapped the football,
That was
but
just
the hand, the momentum just carried him
little
through into the face.
accidental knock by
Absolutely
Gemma
accidental.
Hall.
And
I'd
both
say a
teams
fortunate
very
free
wholehearted,
or a
going at
delay
the
at
ball
least
of
by the
100%.
referee.
And in those situations, you're going to have some injuries. You're going to have impact injuries. Hopefully, there'll be nothing too serious. Obviously, Lee Keegan's is the only real concern at the moment. He looked in distress going off. But Mayo have certainly lifted the intensity in the last couple of minutes, but all based on putting pressure on the Armagh kick-out and winning the last 3 in a row.
So game restarts.
Good
Armagh
work by Ian
possession.
Farquhar.
Referee is playing an advantage for a foul,
Just lost possession, but
and he's going to bring
recovered.
it back, and that will allow Rory Grugan to just settle things down. Lee Keegan, by the way, before he went off, the man with most possessions for Mayo, 11 in total. And in case you have joined us late, Mayo started the game with 2 recent winners
Brian
of the
O'Neill
Footballer
gonna
of
take
the
the
Year
free.
award. And right now, both
This
of
to
them off
level
the
the
field.
match
Danny
again.
Moran replaced, and Lee Keegan gone off injured.
38 minutes
Rian
and
O'Neill, he's got a very
50
long run-up.
seconds played.
This is
In this first half.
free off the floor,
He hits
drills
it well.
it down towards
He
the
hits it
Albany
straight and
end.
through and to the wrong
That's
side
away
of the
for a
post.
5th wide for Armagh after a very explosive start for Rian O'Neill. Just gone out of the game a little.
Again,
No,
the short
more than
kick
10
out,
minutes
this
now
time
since
to
Armagh
Keith
last
Higgins.
scored.
Well, the reason he's gone out of the game is that Mayo has started to
Aidan
dominate in
O'Shea.
the middle of the field, and the ball isn't going up to Rian O'Neill. I think any time it does go up, he's very, very dangerous. And,
Colin
playing
Boyle.
with real confidence at the moment.
Mayo have hit 3 of the last 4 points as
Heavily
Darren
populated
Cole
area.
wins that delivery.
Won back.
Diagonal ball in his
Superbly
direction.
by Darren Cole.
Mikey Murray
Mikey
trying
Murray is
to
working
wriggle his
hard.
way out of the tackles. And he was being
Referee
fouled, and there's no
gives the
advantage.
free.
Now Armagh
No
have been
advantage
giving
to
away
Cruin.
an average of
And the young
6
debutant
points per game from
did rather
frees
well.
this summer. And already in this first half, indiscipline has cost him on a few occasions.
Yeah, he's just pulled him in to him. That's certainly a foul.
Nowhere to go.
Pulling the player in.
Was fouled.
And
Free it.
Armagh have tackled well, having said that, in lots of instances in this first half, as have Mayo going forward as well. It's a feature of the game, good quality tackling, but sometimes it's just on the edge and goes over the
conceded just one
over the
more
edge on
free
that
than
occasion.
Mayo, 11-10. But
This
this
is, Colin
just
Loftus now.
might
He
give
kicked 2
Mayo
good frees so far.
2-point advantage
And on his favourite
going
right
into
side.
the dressing room
This
at
would be Mayo.
half-time.
Mayo have had 6 shots in a row at
It's
goal.
Conor Loftus.
A lot of jostling for position off the ball as Loftus
He
kicks
will
the
remain
free
a 1-point
wide.
advantage, I'm afraid.
And they have had issues with their free takers already this season. And as the teams head off at half-time,
And Mayo,
well, as you
getting
can
to know
see,
each other
nobody wants
as
to
the
give an inch.
half-time approaches.
Mayo with a
There was a bit
50%
of
conversion
verbals
rate in the
towards
first half.
Conor Loftus.
But by and large, we really are
And there was
none the wiser.
subsequently a reaction.
The underdogs Armagh, well, they are right in
But
the
Armagh
hunt.
and Mayo
And
It's
it looks
a really
like this
tough
game,
game.
as
Most
expected,
enjoyable.
is going to go the distance. At half-time in Castlebar,
And Armagh
it's
not
Mayo
intimidated.
1-6, it's Armagh
By Mayo.
1-5. We'll be back with analysis next.
Mayo lead at the break.
Andy Moore and Cohen weren't inside, so the Mayo players who were out the park were looking up and there was no full forward line, and Andy was the one that suffered, even though he was the one that laid on the goal, so that was a surprise. Kieran McGeeney and Paddy McKeever in front of us didn't expect that from
the
Armagh's
Armagh
point of view.
players against the wind, they're only 1 point down. They're absolutely throwing their bodies on the line.
I haven't seen anything like it. They are flinging themselves into tackles all over the place, just real hard and stuff. They're going to dive with their boots on. If they don't win today, they're certainly not going to leave it on the pitch, Damien.
We noticed the tactic of bringing Jamar Hall down the wings. Can you talk to me about that, Sen, and what's that about?
Yeah, Paddy McKeever's at Jamar Hall and Mark Shields, who were playing right in front of us, that when Jamar Hall drops back, Mark Shields can tuck in and just cover the full back line, or else if Mark Shields is man Mark and Jamar Hall can tuck in. Now it's a big job and it's a big ask, and we've seen it there. Jamar Hall got a bang in the head, well, bang high, look a bit shook, and he needs the legs.
And at half time, the Armagh players, they stood up to the Mayo guys, they hit him a few shoulders. Nobody booked yet from anybody from either team. But is that a message of intent that these guys are not going to go away lightly here tonight?
Yeah, you said it. I think there was one thing that Kieran McGeeney was not happy with. They're not getting the rub of the green in terms of freeze, Damien. And that's one thing they're going to look for in this half, and I think that's where that came from.
Right, second half about to start. Back to the commentary team now, Mike.
Thanks, Damien. Welcome back. Armagh have taken to the field again. Doesn't look like there have been any changes on either side at half-time, but as this second half wears on now, Kieran McGeeney and James Horan will be looking at their options, and it's worth reminding you, Cillian O'Connor on the bench for Mayo, hasn't played for the county for 12 months exactly in a competitive game, but he is there if James Horan needs him. Kieran McGeeney, well, he may turn to the likes of Charlie Vernon if he needs some experience or power around the middle. And for the second time tonight from the throw-in, we've more or less had a false start, Paul.
Yeah, good contest in the middle of the field, and it's great to see. We had that at the start of the game as well. So Armagh, as Senan said, throwing themselves at everything and not allowing Aidan O'Shea
There's an awful lot at stake.
as easily as he normally does.
And away we go for the second
competing
half.
again with Niall Grimley. Break falls to Higgins.
Going
It's
forward
Fionn
at
McDonagh
pace.
to stretch his legs
It's Fionn
again.
McDonagh. Goal scorer
Running
in
right
the first
down the
half.
middle. Ball just ran away from him, though he lost control of it.
Armagh
and it's
regained the
that
possession.
great warrior, Brendan Donaghy, at the heart of the Armagh defence to break up that attack. Armagh with the breeze
Easy
behind them,
ball
go
for
long
David Clark.
to the edge of the square, looking for Rian O'Neill, who of course now is being picked
Keith
up by
Higgins.
Stephen Cohen. He's the third different Mayo player
Stephen Cohen.
to be in the company of the
Where's
Armagh
Aidan
full
O'Shea?
forward tonight. Aidan O'Shea, bottled up by Jamie Clark and Niall Grimley. They were fouling the big Mayo number 9, and the free taken to Mikey Murray has bedded in very quickly on his first
Mikey
championship start. Now Chris Barrett,
Backfires Chris Barrett.
10 years on the go at senior level.
Murray once more.
Murray. That pass was
Good interception.
telegraphed and broken up by Grugan.
Rory Grugan. Playing very deep.
He's an old-style playmaker, Rory Grugan.
Aidan
Mayo
Nugent.
have got enough bodies back, though, to clog up all those
To Jarlath
avenues of
O'Burns.
attack for Armagh, and instead they'll try a different route.
Coming from
Donaghy,
left corner back. Position is Paul Hughes.
33 years of age, the Armagh
Brendan
number
Donaghy.
6.
Niall Grimley.
Here he is again.
Donaghy once more.
Armagh having to be patient here. Grimley.
Grimley. Loading this one
around
in.
the corner. He was looking for Nugent.
Cullen Boyle
The
anticipated.
spare man back there,
And
Cullen
intercepted
Boyle,
easily.
got across very quickly. And here's Fionn
Fionn
McDonagh
McDonagh.
again.
Yeah, it's very noticeable after a very, very good opening 15
Availing of
minutes
the
where both
space.
sets of forwards were putting the
Afforded
defenders
to
under
him
pressure.
at
The
this
defences
side.
have been on top since then, partly because players on both
Mikey
sides
Murray.
carrying the ball, running at the defence
well
and
to
running
get
into
past the
traffic,
first challenge,
but
but he's
also
running
some
into a
really high
cul-de-sac
quality
here.
defending as well. And we
And
see
there's
it here
nowhere for
again.
him to go. Ball is not released in
It's,
time.
Mikey
Easy
Murray carrying the
turnover
ball
for
in,
Armagh.
surrounded by 3 players, ball stripped away and a turnover. And Armagh so far have had 17 turnovers to Mayo's 9.
Well, that in fact is
Nowhere
going
to
to be
go.
Mikey Murray's last involvement in the game. Donny Vaughan, who
Mikey
has
Murray
been
goes
out
off.
of football for quite some
Donald
time.
Vaughan is in.
Actually watched the win over Down last Saturday night from the terraces up in Newry. Back in the squad this evening and back into the match 3 minutes into the
Jim-
second half, and by the looks of things, getting stuck in
Jim
along
Hall
with
and
Jamar
Donald
Hall
Vaughan
right
get
from
to
the
know each
get-go.
other.
But Mikey Murray, for a young man making his first start tonight, Paul, he can reflect on a job fairly well done.
Absolutely, it's
Burns and
tough
Brendan
out there in the
Donaghy.
middle of the field.
Man, those key
lots of
pivotal
hard hitting,
positions.
and to play in that position, your first championship game in a big game.
Paddy Burns to
he'll,
Paul Hughes to
develop
Brendan
a lot from
Donaghy.
that. He's had a fantastic year, I believe.
Slipping one through, trying to slip one through for Jamie Clark.
Suffered an injury earlier on in the season, but he will benefit from his 40 minutes here today.
That's a push by Brendan Harrison on Jamie Clark.
Was
and a
pulling
foul.
and dragging a little bit.
James Horan bringing in
That's a free for
experience
Armagh.
and physicality in the shape of Donny Vaughan. 10 years now since he made his championship debut. Attendance confirmed here as 18,711 watching this round 3 qualifier. Sides have been level 5 times already. And the chance for Jamie
Scored
Clark,
1 point in the first half.
who going by the match programme, has had his
from a dead
transfer
ball
to
as well.
Leeds Gales go through. He'll be
This
playing his
to level the
football
match
in
again.
London later this summer, and he strikes that free
And that
beautifully.
mission has been accomplished.
Level again.
And a huge advantage to have a left-footed and a
1-6
right-footed
Mayo,
free
1-6
taker in your
Armagh.
forward line. Armagh have those. Interestingly, Mike,
Hurling
in
this
the
one in.
championship to date, Rian
Beautifully.
O'Neill and Jamie Clark have scored almost 50% of Armagh's total scores. Now, many of those have been from frees, but just shows they're very reliant on the two lads, but they're very accurate. And Mayo will have to be very disciplined in the second half.
David Clark with the kick out. He's looking for Aidan
Target
O'Shea.
is Aidan
Grimley
O'Shea.
knew he was and touches it
It was
down to
Brendan
Donaghy.
Donaghy.
Now Jamar Hall from
Jamar
Fork Hill.
Hall. Nice
Chips
little
it
ball
gently
inside
in
for
front
Jamie Clark.
of
Chris
Clark.
Barrett.
Holds
Trying
off
to stick
Barrett.
to
The
the corner
angle is
forward
very
from
tight.
Texas and
And
Rangers.
that's what Jamie Clark is capable
And that's
of.
the reason why. Given any
He
little bit
is
of
a
space,
class act.
centimetres, and this man
And his
is
first
sheer
point from
utter
play
class.
was worth waiting for.
Worth
Difficult
waiting for,
angle.
but it was a brilliant piece of play by Niall Grimley in the middle of the field. He just leapt up in the air above Aidan O'Shea, wasn't going to catch it, flicked it down, won the kick out,
Brendan
the Mayo
Harrison
kick
goes back
out,
to
and
his
from
keeper.
that, the ball transferred down to
Ends up
Jamie
with
Clark, who hit a
Keith
sublime
Higgins.
point on his left side. So it just shows the importance of putting huge pressure on the opposition kick out.
Keith Higgins looking for Kevin
50-50
McLaughlin.
ball won by
Paddy Burns getting touch tight, the cornerback from
good
Fork Hill.
cornerback play.
And the ball is
Rory
moved
Ruger.
away from danger very quickly.
Stephen
This is Stephen
Campbell.
Campbell.
Donald
He's got
Vaughan
Donny Vaughan for company.
putting the pressure on the wing
Very
forward.
powerful runner, Campbell, and
Campbell
he
available for the
executes
return
that
pass.
1-2 perfectly. Looks up, breeze
for the
behind
score
it,
from
lashes
off the
it down
field.
towards the goal.
Wrong side of
And
the
it
post.
spins away to the right and wide. You could see what he was thinking. That is Armagh's 6th wide.
Well, it was worth a shot. He carried it, then got lost. Mayo defenders ball watching, and
Fionn
he
McDonagh.
gave the pass, kept running, had 3 or 4 metres of space, and it was worth a shot, and just
Time to get
just
forward
outside
for
the right
Colin
post.
Boyle.
Campbell
Challenged by
fouling
Stephen
Boyle.
Campbell goes
Free taken
punished.
by Darren Cole.
Had to be. Nice
Cuts
ball.
out the sweeper,
Kevin
kicks out McLaughlin.
over the ball.
And Kevin McLaughlin hits
better
his
man.
first point of the evening. Came in off the bench late in the first half. Sides all square again.
Yeah,
Nice
great
ball
crossfield
inside to
pass, and
McLaughlin.
really
He was
important.
double
Kevin
marked, but he still
McLaughlin
got the
form
kick
hasn't
in.
been the best in the championship to date.
And they're level again.
A score like that on his wrong side might just be the kickstart that he's looking for.
Chris Barrett happy to
6 different
see
Mayo
that one out
players
over the
now
end
on
line.
the score sheet.
Jamie Barrett,
4 for Armagh.
Jamie Clark nods his head in dissatisfaction.
This game right now in the balance as
Referee
Mayo take a short kick out, but Morris Deegan has spotted
running
something
back
down
here.
at the other end of the field.
Obviously his attention has been drawn to something off the ball.
Men in your picture are Kevin McLaughlin and Paddy Burns, and I think Morris Deegan
Let's see
is
who
going
he's
to
going to
grab
have a word
quick
with.
word with his umpire
Back to his
first.
team of
But
umpires.
we mentioned Cillian O'Connor at the top of this second half, Paul.
Conversation.
You expect to see him sooner rather than later, and I think most people do.
Has taken
Well, if
place.
he's not going to feature today,
The information
he's
flow is there.
We've heard that he's supposed to
it's
be
gonna
fit
be
or
Kevin
95% fit
McLaughlin,
over the last number of weeks, and he hasn't featured
probably
in
Paddy
any
Burns.
game. And if he's going to feature
He's
in the
going to be
championship
spoken
at
to
all,
here
you'd
and
expect him to
shown
come on at some
a yellow
stage
card,
today
I would
and
suggest.
get some minutes. And he's hugely important to Mayo, and it's very hard to find form at this stage of the championship when you haven't
Kevin McLaughlin can
played
afford a
for
little
quite a while.
smile.
You're coming back from a serious injury, so I would certainly
Both
expect to see
names
him if
have
he's
been
named at the
noted.
26. I think we'll
No
see him at
yellow
some
card
stage.
shown.
So no cards
a bit
on
of a
this
surprise,
occasion for either
having
player,
jogged all the
and
way
now
back.
Stegen will head back
The
down
referee
the
really
field
took
again
no action.
to restart the match. A lot of talk in the build-up
boys
about
can even
Mayo's
afford a
home
little
record
smile.
here in Castlebar. Well, they've played 8 championship matches
Brendan
here over
Harrison.
the last 5 years. They've lost 3 of them, all in the Connacht Championship. 2 to Galway, 1, of course, earlier this summer to Roscommon.
Colin Boyle. In a
And they
lot of
make home
space.
advantage count tonight. Boyle, as the rain now starts
Target
to
was
fall
Kevin
here in
McLaughlin.
Castlebar.
But the ball was inaccurate.
And this will make working conditions out on the
Well
field
wide of
a little
what the plan
difficult.
was.
And for anybody who's not under cover here in Castlebar, the evening has taken a turn for the worse, Paul.
Absolutely, it has, and I can't remember an occasion when I've been down here in Castlebar over the last few years where we haven't
kick
had some
out from Blaine
some rain.
Hughes.
We had it in Roscommon and Mayo a number of weeks ago towards the end of the game, so
Ball inside
Making it a
fires
little bit more
Paul
difficult.
Hughes. This is
So
much
quick
better
counter
from
by Armagh. All
Right
started by
man,
the
right
goalkeeper
place.
Blaine Hughes and
Swings
finished
it
in some style by
beautifully.
Jamie Clark.
It's Jamie Clark.
Well, if you give him an
His
inch,
fourth
he'll
point
take
of
a
the
mile,
game.
and that's now 3 second-half
can
points
see
for
when
Clark,
I
2 from
say
play.
yeah,
he's
you can
just
give him an inch,
simply
but you
in a
can't give him
different
5 or
class.
6
It
or whatever it is
started
meters
way back with
that
Blaine
Chris
Hughes'
Barrett
kick
gave
out,
him on that
which
occasion.
was
He
a
was so
beauty,
far
and it
off
ended
him
here
that he had
with Jamie
time to
Clark.
look up, turn,
Brilliant.
and kick it over with his left foot. Far too much space, but Jamie Clark into the game in a big way in the second half.
That's now 3 points with the win behind them for Armagh. This is
Mayo
Darren Coe,
counter-attack.
and that's another score
And
for
that's
him and
over the
for
bar.
Mayo. He's a real streak player,
Good play
Darren
by
Coe
Darren
from
Coe.
Honeymouth
That's the second
Carramore.
point of the game.
Showed us exactly what he
Long
could do
ball
here
down
against
by Coe.
Roscommon.
Had the legs, had the
And that
physique.
is an excellent
Had the
response
accuracy.
by Mayo. Sides deadlocked for the 8th time here in Castlebar.
Yeah, and again,
Mark Shields.
while Andy Moran has gone off, they're alternating, Mayo alternating
Laying off
between
Barnes,
Kevin McLaughlin and
Gemma
Darren
Hall.
Combs sitting in very close to the goal.
Rian O'Neill taking that short pass from Jamar Hall.
Effort from way
Does
out
a
the
360. It's coming
Dropping
in.
in.
It's very close.
Dropping
But
wide.
it's ultimately out for Armagh's 8th wide. Rian O'Neill drifting between full forward and centre forward, but just not able to get into his stride at the moment.
Noticeable that Mayo are looking for the short kick
David
out
Clark.
on all occasions now,
Clear
because they're trying to
strategy
build from
in
the
terms
back.
of
They know
kickouts has
that they're
been
not winning a lot of the long
continue to go
kickouts.
short
And
means
when they
that
do lose it in midfield,
Mayo
it's very
will
hard to get
always
the
retain
defensive
the
shape
possession.
set up, and Armagh can counter-attack very quickly.
Sun breaks out again as Stephen Cohen pops it
Stephen
forward.
Cohen and the
This is his
brother
first
Darren
cousin, Darren
combined
Cohen.
here.
And
Oh,
Darren
that's a
Cohen
fabulous point.
has kicked another beauty.
It's
2 in a
Cohen's
minute
third point of the
for the
game.
Mayo number 24.
Beautifully set up.
Well, he's back in the squad again this season, and he's
the
showing us
Coens
why.
Absolutely.
come
That's,
together.
I think 3
For
shots,
a brilliant
3
score.
scores. And 5 against Roscommon, 5 brilliant points against Roscommon. So
No
he's the man in
free.
form on the forward line. And
Listen to the
when
crowd
you have a
here.
man
Almost
like that, you get the
20,000
ball into him as often as you can.
Getting behind the green and
You
red.
can sense it now. Push is starting to come to shove.
Who have struggled to come to
We're in the
terms
third
with this
quarter.
Armagh performance.
Mayo have a slender advantage. Aidan
They're led
O'Shea
by one of the
manages to
They lead by one
bounce
now,
off a
having
tackle or two.
gone
Keeps
behind
Mayo
at the
moving
start
forward.
of the second
Fionn
half.
McDonough
Fionn McDonough.
trying to tuck that ball under his arm and keep going.
But Armagh regained
Just
the
look who was in
possession.
the right place at the right time again. Brendan Donaghy.
Yeah, Mike, but when Mayo carry the ball through, it's all going through
Mark
the middle.
Shields.
They have no width. They have nobody out at the side to give them an option to stretch the defence.
Needs the support of Aidan Nugent.
Armagh now 20 turnovers won to Mayo's
Back
10.
fires
So
Niall
but a lot
Grimley.
of that, Mayo just carrying the ball through the middle instead of, as I said, getting players
Gemma
wide.
Hall.
And Armagh just doing what they've done very well in
Trying
the
to
championship
squeeze
to date.
in through the Mayo sandwich.
Foul by Kieran Tracy on
Sandwich
Jamar
was
Hall.
delivered.
And just look who's about
And
to
Mayo
make his
might
long-awaited
well
return.
spring
Cillian
Cillian
O'Connor.
O'Connor.
He's
After
played
being off injured for
about
so long.
35 minutes of
That
football
surely
this
will get
year
a massive response
between
from both players
his
and
club
supporters.
Championship outing,
Charlotte
and a brief
O'Barnes
cameo in a
gives it back
challenge
to
game
his
for
Gemma
Mayo.
Hall.
And the player who
Niall
make way will be
Grimley
Conor
outside the Mayo
Loftus as
45.
Armagh work a
That's
shooting
a
chance for
brilliant
Niall
score.
Grimley.
Excellent play.
And that's a beautiful finish
It's his
for the
first
big
point in this
midfielder.
match. It was worth the wait.
Beautiful composed finish by Niall Grimley.
Armagh so patient in the build-up, so clinical in the
Grimley
finish.
with the leveller.
And listen to the roar.
And the
because
Mayo
here
crowd
is indeed
greet the
Cillian
arrival
O'Connor
of Cillian O'Connor.
as the rain falls
Well, the former captain has missed so much
the
football
west.
this year.
There is a massive
His
roar
last
as
appearance for
Cillian
the county
joins the action
in the
and
championship
replaces Conor Loftus.
in a meaningful game 12 months ago to the day.
Level
And he's
again,
in here with
1-9.
22 minutes to play.
1-9 Mayo.
It's great to see him back, first of all, and
Punched
have
out
recovered
for
from the
Keith
injury.
Higgins, picked up by Aidan O'Shea.
See how sharp he is
Colin
now. I'm sure he's
Boyle
been playing a
takes
lot of
the
football
challenge
in
to the visitors.
training games.
Colin Boyle
Looks
looking for
one in.
Darren Coe.
Brendan
Batted
Donaghy
down
is
by
back there.
Aaron McKay.
Sweep up.
Cleaned up by Donaghy. Really has that
And
roll off to a
Armagh
fine
go
art.
into counter-attack mode.
This is Rory Grugan. Turns inside onto that left foot, back to the point
Niall
scorer
Grimley.
Grimley.
Jarlath O'Burns.
Armagh with a
Laying it
measured
off for
build-up.
Aidan Forker.
Into
a
Rian
good
O'Neill,
ball.
bounces up beautifully for him.
Yeah.
Thought about the shot, spins
What
onto
can
his
Rian
left.
O'Neill do?
And the less said about that effort, the better.
The
Let's
answer
head down to the sideline and
Not
hear from
much on
Stanning
this
Connor.
particular
Yes,
occasion.
Mike, it's a very
He's good
definite tactic
footballer,
from
though.
Mayo here in the second half to
Just
go sharp,
miscued
kick it,
this.
another one gone to Aidan O'Shea. James Horan got very animated when there was one on earlier and David Clark didn't give it. On the flip side, when Armagh have the ball coming deep, the message from the
Stephen
sideline
Coe
is to run it
starts
hard,
the move
to get
that
ahead of
ends
the
up here
ball
with this
and try
man,
and hit
Colin
that Mayo
Boyle.
defence as quick as they can.
Thank you, Senan. Colin Boyle, 15
Flicking
possessions,
into the
more than
centre.
any other Mayo player now.
Jason
Starts this
Doherty
attack. Donny Vaughan
over for his
tries to turn away from Forker. Vaughan
Hitting
off
it hard
balance.
and
And
hitting
what
it
a
over the
difference
bar.
a week makes. Watched Mayo as a supporter, as a
Not just
spectator
a physical
last
presence in the middle of
weekend.
the field.
And here he is in the thick
Well
of it
capable
a
of
week
taking his
later
point
and
as
kicking
well.
Mayo back in front.
Yeah, very important score for Mayo, and it's tit for tat at this
20
stage.
minutes
and,
to go. Mayo
neither
in
side
front by
has been
one.
able to get a couple of points ahead, a couple of points of lead. Every time one team scores, the
Jarlath
other team is going up the
O'Burns.
field, making the correct decisions. A lot of good decision making in the last 6 or 7 minutes.
Jamer
A
Hall.
lot of good play, composed play by both sides.
Vaughan becomes Mayo's 7th different scorer. Here's Jamie Clark, the
And
go-to
Brendan
man
Harrison.
in this second half. Harrison is brushed
Back
aside.
outside.
Surface is
Niall Grimley.
slippy now. Ball
Clark
is
wants to
greasy.
return
As Clark
pass.
gives and takes again.
Confident of
Clark
dropping
leaves
this
his
in.
line. The
Square
other
ball
Clark.
infringement by Rian O'Neill.
Rian O'Neill adjudged to have been fouling,
Free out for Mayo.
pushing Barrett or perhaps the goalkeeper. Stephen Coe.
Stephen Cohen.
Armagh at the moment getting ready to bring in Ethan Rafferty, who
Kevin
interestingly
McLaughlin.
named in the Armagh squad as number 16.
Roaming out around the middle of the field to gather
Armagh
possession.
not togging an out-and-out
Giving
sub-keeper
and getting
this evening.
the pass.
Boyle to McLaughlin.
Kevin McLaughlin.
Goes past the
pass
shoulder
number
of
one.
Donaghy.
Can he pull it through?
McLaughlin!
Yes, he can.
Back of the net for
Beautiful
Mayo.
score,
Goal for
Kevin
Kevin McLaughlin.
Fantastic
But it
goal.
all just seemed
He
to
started
open up.
it. He finished it.
And it's not the first time he scored a big goal for Mayo in a big
Straight
match,
through
and
the
he's
middle.
just done it again.
Well, absolutely, with his right foot
Beautifully
again.
passed.
As I talked a few
Blaine
moments
Hughes.
ago about getting into form or finding
McLaughlin
form,
did
well,
so
certainly
well
that
here.
right-footed point that he got earlier on
Great goal.
gave him the confidence to go straight at the Armagh defence, and
Changes the landscape
perhaps a hint of
completely.
maybe a
Rian
slight
O'Neill.
over carry when he took on the first Armagh defender, but the referee gave him the benefit of the doubt, and
Paddy
a
Burns.
brilliant composed finish,
Mayo
and
are
exactly
beginning
what
to
Mayo
believe in
needed in the
themselves
second
once
half.
again. Cillian O'Connor
So
gets
many
his first
times
touch.
big goals have gone against them, and even when they have been dominant territorially,
They are down injured.
opposition has stung them with a goal, but on that
Jason
occasion
Doherty
that's exactly what they
needs
needed
some
at this stage of the
attention.
game.
Jason Doherty is the player who's gone to ground down in front of his own goal. That break won a few moments ago by Cillian O'Connor. It was cheered to the rafters by the huge Mayo support here in the crowd of just over 18,500 people. But that goal from Kevin McLaughlin, his 9th of his championship career, well, it has propelled Mayo into a 4-point lead, and could
Well,
he
he
turn
is
out to
certainly
be a
heading
super
towards
sub? Could it turn
being
out
the
to be a
hero
master
on this
stroke?
particular evening.
Absolutely, I think when
Not
he got the
inside the
ball,
cover.
he just fixed
The finish
Brendan
here was
Donaghy,
superb.
and he
Outside
decided
of the
early on
boot,
he was going to try
roof
and
of the
weave
net.
around him or sidestep around him, and
Lobbing
once
the
he did
keeper.
that, he had that bit of space. He could have popped it over the bar,
Fantastic.
but he saw a goal opportunity, and he took it. As I said, he's done that so many times for Mayo over the years, but Brendan, Kieran Donnelly made an interesting point at half-time about the intensity and the pace
Ethan
that Mayo
Rafferty
have
is
been
coming
playing
on for
the
Armagh.
last number of years, and particularly
meanwhile Jason
in the league
Doherty
this year,
requires medical
played a high
attention as
pace
well
against the top teams, and they keep that pace for the full game, whereas Armagh maybe not used to that. And from time to time, their intensity levels drop, and I think that's been happening, or that has happened in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Fergal Boland
So
is on
changes
for
there
Mayo.
on both sides during that stop in play. Ethan Rafferty is in, wearing 16. He's come on out the field. And Fergal Boland will replace Jason Doherty. So by the looks of things, the
Armagh
Mayo medical team will have another busy weekend
rattled by that
with
Kevin
Lee Keegan
McLaughlin goal,
and Jason
who
Doherty,
has the possession again.
both in sick bay at the
Darren
moment,
Cohn.
as Darren Cohn
Score of
gets
3
on the
points.
ball in that corner where he does some of his best
that was
work,
on fire.
and another one for Cohn.
It's his 4th point.
He's prepared to shoot on sight from everywhere and anywhere. That's his
Causing
4th
serious
of
problems
the evening, his
for
3rd of the
Armagh.
second half. He's filling his boots.
Well, you can see the confidence is just pouring through his veins at the moment, because he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Went towards the end
For the
line,
first time in this match,
put the brakes on,
there
cut
is
back,
daylight
just give himself
between
that metre of
the
space
hosts
to
and
pull
the
the
visitors.
trigger, and he's super confident at the moment, knows that any time he shoots it's going to go over the black spot, and
so here's
huge
the question
asset for Mayo today,
Armagh,
having a player who
what
can
are
kick
you
4
made
points
of?
from play.
That's 1-2
Long
without
ball.
reply
Jamie
for
Clark
Mayo, but Armagh may
hits
strike
it.
back. It's
Oh,
Clark,
off the
it's off the
post. Brilliant
post.
save by Clark.
Not quite sure if
The
David
ball
Clark
is
got
there
a
and
touch.
Brendan Harrison to
Jamie
relieve the
Clark
pressure.
went low to the corner, back off the post, back into play.
So many chapters.
Armagh can't
in
believe
this
their
story.
bad luck. Mayo breathe
And the book
a
is not
huge
finished
sigh of
yet.
relief. Colin Boyle
Jamar Hall
is still down in front of
wins
the goal.
himself a free.
Armagh have won a free.
This was
Well,
so
what
close.
a chance for Jamie Clark.
Oh well, Jamie
Didn't
Clark must
really
be wondering
quite
the gods
connect.
against
David
him
Clark, brilliant.
this year, because
Pushed it onto the
yet
goalpost
again there
here.
might have been a slight push in the
Jamie
back.
Clark's effort
Slight
here
push
just
in the
seemed
back,
to
and
scrub it a
he
little
did the
bit.
same against Cavan in the
Ball
Ulster
came out,
replay.
and Mayo were
He tried
there.
to pick his spot.
But
The
it
replay,
was
he
an
put it just
opportunity.
outside the post on that occasion. It was inside, but David Clark made a tremendous save. But there was a very subtle push in the back on, was it Chris Barrett? No, it was Brendan Harrison. And I was about to be very critical of the Mayo defence for allowing a smaller man catch the ball inside, but we can see why.
He still looks
wasn't picked
worried,
up by
but
the
Mayo
referee. Would
are in
have
a
been
better
a huge,
place right now.
controversial incident if the goal went in.
Well, David Clark brought back into the
He
Mayo
must have
team
thought that Jamie
for the
Clark
down
was going
game
to
last weekend,
hit the back
showing
of the
just
net with
why
that
he's a
effort a moment
two-time
ago.
All-Star with a spectacular save. Got a piece of his right hand on it to push that shot from Jamie Clark onto the post.
Ethan
He's an
Rafferty
incredible
is going to take
stopper,
this.
shot stopper,
And it
Mike, I
literally
should say.
is his first touch
He's,
of the ball.
fantastic. Like that save last week from Kinnair Harrison as well, down when he got against Down at a vital stage of the game where he got his hand down. He did the same there, just fantastic.
Ethan Rafferty, he's got a
Kicks
very
it well.
big left boot on it,
Dropping
knocks
in.
this in. Touchdown and picked up
Well picked up.
by Vaughan.
And Mayo come
Well, Mayo
forward.
have hit 1-4 of the last 1-5 that's been
Fergal
scored in the
Boland is
match.
fouled.
They've produced
3
some
for Mayo.
big power plays in the last 10 minutes, and they're now in the driving seat as Kieran McGeeney decides to make a change and shake things up. And it's Greg McCabe who's coming in. Also came on
Greg
against
McCabe is
Down
coming
way
on.
back at the start of the Ulster Championship,
He
and
is
it's
going
Aaron McCabe
into the full-back
Oh,
who's making
position.
way.
But the
Aaron
difference is,
McCabe.
we said at the start of this, at half-time, Mayo had 50% success up front, 7 from 14. They're now 13 from 20. 100% success in their shooting in the second half against the Breeze. And that's the difference. That's why they're in the
Very
pole position
easily
at the
turned
moment.
over.
Ball lost
good
in
work
traffic
by
by
Armagh.
Paddy Durkin. And Paul
Paul
Hughes
Hughes.
will accelerate
Jamar
down the
Hall.
field. This is Jamar Hall, cuts inside from that right wing. Grugan
Then get
demanding
back
the
far as
pass.
Rory
He's the
Grugan.
man that joins the dots
Ethan
across to
Rafferty.
Rafferty. And
Hits
Ethan
this
Rafferty hammers that
well wide.
well wide. Armagh haven't brought their shooting boots out for this second half. That's now 10 wides in total.
And I think one of
5
the things that
points
James
between
Horn
the
has
teams.
done in the second half, Armagh won a couple of scores earlier on when they contested and won the long Mayo kickouts around the middle of the field.
Brendan
Since
Harrison.
then, the message has gone out, give everything short, kick everything short, retain possession,
Chris Barrett
and do not
is under
give
severe
Armagh
pressure.
an opportunity in the middle of the field to
Free
win
given
ball. Just deny them
to
the
the green
possession,
and
and that's
red.
worked really well for Mayo from the start of
Keith
this, from
Higgins.
the 5 minutes into the second half.
Almost 10 minutes now since Armagh last troubled the scorekeepers.
Darren Cohen.
Andrew
Keith
Mernon
Higgins.
out injured. What a loss he has been. Can they
willing
get
to
enough
take on the
service to
Armagh
Rian
defence.
O'Neill and Jamie Clark? That is the big question as Keith
Won
Higgins
back by Brendan Donaghy, surely.
loses the ball in the tackle.
Free for Armagh.
Good, solid defensive work again by Armagh.
Well, Armagh continuing to rotate their forwards, and Rian O'Neill is up around the half-back line at this stage. I
Good
think
ball.
I'd certainly like to see him inside in the full forward line. He's a
Niall
bigger threat
Grimley.
in there.
Grimley
towards Jamie
kicks out
Clark.
Clark. Cuts
Going
inside,
for the score.
sets himself.
Going
Jamie
for the
Clark
point
likes the
and
look of
getting
it.
it.
And over it goes.
And Armagh get a little
5
bit
points
closer.
for Jamie Clark.
5
He
points
has
for
really
Jamie
turned it
Clark
on
this
in this
afternoon
second
and
half.
evening.
And he is now
1-10
their sharpest
Armagh.
attacking blade in that full forward line.
Absolutely. Look, he's been doing this for a number of years. He's an incredibly accurate forward, gets into space, but everybody knows he gets onto his left foot at this stage, and he's been marked by a few different Mayo defenders, and they've all struggled on him today. 8 shots, 5 points, 3 from play, and that goal opportunity that he had. And you know what? Jamie Clark in the past has put so many of those
Jamie Clark and
goals away.
Brendan
You have to give
Harrison.
great credit to
Brendan
David
Harrison
Clark for a
just picking up an
fantastic save.
accidental
I
knock.
think Jamie Clark there, and indeed he did, he just caught Brendan Harrison on his way
Running
past
for
with
possession.
a trailing boot. Harrison
Represented Ireland in the International Rules Series.
2017,
Fine footballer.
usually designated
Good
to pick up the danger man in the opposition full forward line.
They've travelled a
different
long way
tonight
from Armagh to
As
witness
we
this.
swing in now to the last 10
And James
minutes of
Horn
normal
must
time.
feel with about 11 minutes
The
to go.
winners
He's
will
about
be
to
out
hang
again
on.
next weekend in round 4 of the qualifiers against one of the beaten provincial
This time
finalists.
David Clark goes for distance.
Losers here, well, it will be the end of the road
Well
for
run
them.
back by Charlotte O'Brien's.
And if this game was to finish level, we would have extra
Nowhere
time.
to go. Surrounded.
And because we must have a winner
I
on
really
the night,
don't know
if
what
it
a
was
player is
still
supposed
level,
to do in that
we
situation.
would be treated to a penalty shootout, which
Aidan O'Shea.
right now is the last thing
Easily
on anyone's mind. As Aidan O'Shea
intercepted by
just seemed
Rian
to switch
O'Neill.
off there. His free intercepted
Good
by
ball.
O'Neill.
Rory
David
Grugan,
Clark's
the
left his
goalkeeper,
goal.
is
It's
out.
Grugan!
And it's gone
Just
over the
over.
bar. My word. Mayo were
Well,
totally
nobody more
exposed.
surprised there, I think, than
And
the Mayo
Rory Grugan
goalkeeper
knew that.
to see
and
what was
felt that he
unfolding
could
in front of him.
find the
And
net
it was almost a
as a
goal
result
from
of this
absolutely
interception
nothing.
by Rian O'Neill.
Mayo 4 points
Clark
up,
was off
10,
his
12
goal
minutes to
line.
go. You think an experienced
And he
team,
put it
first
over the
division
crossbar.
team that's been
But
in
should
the
have been
All-Ireland
and could have
final
been a
4 or
goal.
5, what is it, 6
And
times the
Rory
last number of
Grugan
years, will
knows
know
it.
how to close out the game. But they could have found another way to shoot themselves in the foot by giving away an absolutely silly pass
Just a
from
goal
Aidan
between
O'Shea, an
them.
experienced player in the middle of the field.
10 minutes left.
A pass that was not on and intercepted, and it could have resulted in a goal the other side.
That's now 2 points in a row for Armagh
Good
as
work
Mayo
by
lose the
Stephen
ball
Coe,
again
but,
on the way out of their
loses
own
the
defence.
possession ultimately.
Wind and rain
Brendan
now
Donaghy.
behind Armagh,
Stephen Campbell.
blowing into Mayo's faces as Stephen Campbell
Hitting it
steps
with
onto his
conviction
left,
and accuracy.
and Soupy Campbell
They
strokes
are not
over
beaten
a beautiful
yet,
score,
you
his
know.
second. Armagh most certainly haven't gone away,
They are showing
and we're
a
in
lot
for a
of
big
character.
last 10-15 minutes.
Absolutely,
really
and again,
love
Mayo
this
player in
Armagh
possession
team.
inside the 45-metre line, just dawdling on the ball.
They believe in
Very
themselves.
good dispossession by Armagh, and from a 4-point game, it's a couple of minutes ago back to
Brendan
a 2-point
Harrison
game.
That's now 3
Under
points
pressure from
on
Jamie
the bounce
Clark.
for Armagh.
needs the assistance,
They're
but
getting their
Jamie
second win.
responding.
And as everybody
Looked like
knows
that
at this
was a free,
stage,
but
Mayo
referee
will
said
give
play
up
on.
scoring
David
chances.
Clark.
They will leave you in the game more often than not. So it's going to be a nervy home stretch for the home supporters as David Clark comes out of his goal. Not normally known for going too far.
Gives it
And
eventually
besides,
far as Aidan
before he
O'Shea.
hits the 45 to move that ball on.
Has
The
added
second
a bit
half
of
goal
dash
scorer,
and flavour
Kevin
as he's being
McLaughlin,
introduced.
looking for
But
Bowman,
look at that
who
for
was caught on his
tenacity.
heels, and
No
Paul
hanging
Hughes from
about.
Crossmaglen
Paul
Rangers
Hughes
nips in.
gets by the challenge, having won a great interception. Here comes the
Jamar Hall it is
reinforcements.
who goes
Jamar Hall
past him into position.
Armagh
There's a man in the middle.
back in the attack.
Greg McCabe
Rory
looking for the
Grugan.
ball to be delivered. Instead,
Rian
Armagh
O'Neill
slowed
right
it
beside
right
him.
down, and Grugan will
Decides
go
to
back to
recycle
Donaghy.
it.
Yeah, you just wonder, you know, they
Calling
performed
for
exceptionally
Stephen
well
Campbell.
now for a 10-minute period. Have they just switched off? Have
Mark
players switched
Shields
off
is
mentally
inside
because
it.
they're making poor errors
two.
and poor decisions?
Lovely skill
Here
by
comes
Campbell, who
Campbell.
weaves
Here comes
one way
another
and then the
point.
other, and finishes
Fantastic
with a
play.
terrific
Stephen
score.
Campbell.
Stephen Campbell
Brilliant,
is
Armagh.
having one of those nights. 3 points.
When you think
two in as many
But Mayo
minutes,
looked home
and
and hosed at one
Armagh are
stage.
reeling Mayo back in.
And
This
yet again,
Armagh
Mayo
side
had possession
are showing
up around the halfway
incredible
line underneath the
belief.
stand. A simple hand pass. Fergal Boland waited for it to come to him. Armagh player goes in
Game
and
on
intercepts. And from that,
1 point
the
again
ensuing
between
attack
the teams.
occurs and they get the score.
7 minutes left.
Just
Stephen
given them-
Campbell from the Clonagale club in Lurgan. He's a real streak player, and those who know him well will tell you when he's kicked a long-range point like that, he wants another one, and right now his tail is up and he just wants to get on that ball and make something happen as the referee goes in search of Aidan Forker and Darren Cohen. But it really is, Paul, all to play for with 6 minutes on the clock.
Oh, absolutely. And those Mayo errors have just given oxygen to this Armagh team, and you can see they're
Yellow card
around
for
the
Aidan
field. The body
Forker
language
and
has
Darren
changed.
Cohen.
4 points behind, hadn't scored for a while. Mayo dominant around the field, and suddenly they're back in the game, a point down, and Mayo have gone tentative. Poor decisions, not driving forward with the intensity and the pace that they did when they got the 1-3 to put them 4 points ahead.
Jamie Clark.
And they'll have to do that again now because they can't sit back and try and protect a 1 point lead.
Home side haven't registered a score, as you can see there now, for heading towards 11 minutes.
Pressure being imposed by Armagh.
Hit a purple patch, went 5 points clear, but all of a sudden
chasing the possession,
hit a wall.
Aidan O'Shea,
and just like those qualifiers we mentioned earlier against Fermanagh and Derry,
Killian O'Connor.
it is too close for
Fionn
comfort for
McDonagh.
Mayo, and the
Taken down by
opposition
Burns.
are getting stuck in, and they are digging in now
Free from
for
Mayo.
the last 5 minutes plus whatever's added on. That's Fionn McDonagh, brought down by Jarly O'Burns, and no surprise to see Fionn McDonagh is starting to feel the pinch a little. He has run himself into the ground. 15 possessions as Killian O'Connor now tries to make all that experience, all that big game know-how count. And he's got a decision to make here.
Well, I think it's too far out for him because the wind is blowing against, and it's a kind of a cross from
Killian O'Connor.
the right-hand corner.
There's a man gone down inside the D. It's Kevin McLaughlin, and Morris Deegan is going to give Mayo a free right in front of the goal. Well, that was
Mark Shields
silly to say the least.
Spotted here. Let's just have a look at this.
Killian O'Connor was getting ready to make his mind up, and Mark Shields has pulled and dragged McLaughlin to the ground.
Well, that's incredible indiscipline at this stage of the game.
Deegan
You're on top, you've got the
taking
last
the name,
3 points.
showing the yellow
You just need
card.
to keep composed,
The left-hand
keep your
back.
discipline. They were never going to score. Killian O'Connor was never going to score from outside the 45 near the sideline, so it was just play it tight, don't do anything silly, and now they have an easy chance in front of the goal to go 2 points up.
I think nobody knows
Free
more than
going to be
Mark
taken
Shields.
where the foul was committed.
That was not a smart piece of play. Just shaking his head there as he went back into position.
Causing Armagh just a few
And Killian
problems
O'Connor
here.
gets set to try and kick his first score of the year for Mayo.
It's a giveaway.
A handy one for him, a handy one for Mayo after that foul off the ball, and just a little bit of breathing space.
A little bit of breathing space, 7 from 7 in the second half, and against the breeze, that's a great return.
Straight down past Paul
Hughes. Keep that up.
Blaine Hughes gets his kick out away, finds his man. They're looking for Clark now, every opportunity. Really good defensive work by Harrison, who came in to steal the ball.
Referee has blown his
and
whistle.
the referee actually has blown the whistle for a push by Harrison on Clark.
Sign language he's giving there.
Well, it looked initially like the full-back had done his job fairly and squarely, but
2 points
push
between the teams.
on the back of Clark is the call, and Armagh get the free.
Yeah, Jamie Clark showing very, very well. Very harsh there. Hand came.
It looked
was
initially
going for
to
the ball.
me, but there
Maybe
was a
the
push
left
in the back.
trailing
When you
arm.
look at the
Maybe the
replay the
referee
second
saw
time around.
contact on the upper back, but it was a harsh one.
Crucial.
So here is Rian O'Neill. His father Gareth played with Armagh and Loud. His mum Dora is a sister of Armagh legend Oisin McConville.
Armagh
They and the
really
rest of us
needed
have
to
just watched him
guarantee
kick
that to be a
across
score.
the face of goal, and that is now
If not
11
directly from the
wides for
free, well
Armagh
then work
to
it around
7 for
a
Mayo.
little
I
bit.
think 4 wides for Rian O'Neill, and he's had a couple that have just got narrowly wide. Most of those were hitting the target.
David
In
Clark
the first 3 championship games where he played
to Keith Higgins.
played fantastic football. His former or his current
Armagh
coach
sandwich has
Rowan
been
Murtagh,
delivered.
a great Crossmaglen
that's a
Rangers
free
player,
for Keith Higgins
is
and
quoted
Mayo.
as saying that he can be the best footballer in the country over the next few years if he puts his mind to it, and I'd respect that man's opinion. I
to
think
say
he
the
has a great
least.
future.
But that last shot there of those Mayo supporters tells its own story. Keith Higgins was coming out after winning his 19th possession of the
Jamie
match.
Clark-Moore slipped into
The
that
most
challenge.
of any Mayo player out
did
there,
it in
when
any
he
way
was brought
deliberately.
down by a combination of Jamar Hall and Jamie Clark. But what a shift Higgins has put in
The
again
rain
for
that
Mayo
fell
this evening. It's his
during the match,
15th
causing the
season.
players a few problems.
He is an ever-present in that Mayo team, and time and time again he's carried
Looking
ball
for the
out from
run.
the full back line.
Provided
Free
by
taken
Kevin
by
McLaughlin.
O'Shea.
Chased by Mark Shields.
We're heading towards additional
Still
time as Kevin McLaughlin makes a beeline for the Armagh
goes to
goal,
ground.
and he's drawn
Free in,
another foul.
says the referee.
We said it earlier, they can be rash at times in the tackle, Armagh, and they've just coughed up another free. We're hearing, by the way, we'll have 4 additional minutes.
Yeah, we questioned why Andy Moran was taken off in the first half, and I think he will feel a little bit hard done by being taken off. He had played well, he had set up the goal really well, but you can't question the influence and the performance of Kevin McLaughlin, who has been hugely impressive since he came on, and critical to this Mayo lead that they have, a 2-point lead, which may be 3 in a couple of moments. He scored a great point with his right foot, great goal with his left. The confidence now in taking on a player and having the experience to get in front in that front position, knowing that the tackle is going to come from behind and probably push him to the ground.
Well, there's no doubt he's had a very slow-burning summer, Kevin McLaughlin, but it has caught fire in the second half.
Crucial
his
goal in the second half,
proving so crucial. And now he's won a free that presents Cillian O'Connor with a chance to top up that Mayo lead. We're into the first of 4 additional minutes.
Cillian O'Connor.
Well, O'Connor knows this place like the back of his hand.
match.
This is his 50th championship appearance, and it's like he's never been away. 2 from 2.
2 from 2, but football's an incredible sport.
Mayo
2-13 game in many ways. Like Mayo
113.
50% accuracy in the first half,
4 minutes of
100%
injury time to be added
actually
on,
had 4 more shots at goal than Mayo have.
And we're now in that 4-minute
period. Mayo are on
period.
top. Now contrast that with the Connacht semi-final against Roscommon. Roscommon had 24 shots to Mayo's 36, yet Roscommon win by a point. It is all about converting the chances when you get them. And Mayo have done that in the second half and are in pole position now as we go into injury time.
Going to be
Kieran McGeady is getting ready to pitch in. The man in your picture, Big Ben Creeley. We can only presume he will be dispatched to the edge of the square as time now starts to run out for Armagh. Paul Hughes finding it difficult to shake off Darren Coe. Aidan Forker having similar issues with Kieran Tracy.
That's going to be a free, quickly taken by
Charlotte O'Burns. And before the free can be taken,
was allowing the
Armagh will
substitution
make
to
the
take
change.
place. So the free has to be taken again.
Will replace Charlie O'Burns. 14 possessions.
Ben Creeley
for
from
the Armagh number 8.
Charlotte O'Burns is the player that makes way.
It's his first season, and you'd say he learnt a lot from his experience here this evening as Evan Regan is introduced in place of his Ballina teammate Kieran Tracy.
I think Charles O'Burns, another man with a fantastic future, has a great championship to date, and great experience for him out here playing against the likes of Aidan O'Shea on the middle of the field in front of almost 20,000 people. But you'd expect Armagh will have to go long now. 2 minutes left. Big man inside of the edge of the square.
Forker. That delivery just spun off his boot, but it's gathered by Ethan Rafferty. Armagh need a goal now. Surely, at this stage of the game, Rian O'Neill is hit hard. Armagh have got a
for the
free
second
in.
challenge.
May have been for the first tackle rather than the second on O'Neill. But now, what will Armagh's free taker do from here? Does he take his point and then reset for the kick out? Decisions.
No, I think you've got to try and manufacture a goal on this occasion, because even if they get the point, they're going to have to. They'll still be 2 behind, so they're going to have to manufacture a goal at the next
going
one.
for the point.
Well, Rian O'Neill has taken his point.
And taking it.
That leaves just 2 between them. And now everybody fastens their seatbelt.
Between
a
Mayo
minute to go.
And the next round.
2 points between the sides.
2 points.
And everybody's nerves are jangling.
Yeah, Mayo just sprinting, looking for a short one.
Tension
and very
almost unbearable.
Clever play. Very good
David Clark.
runs made by the Mayo defence. 3 or 4 runs made.
Not a good pass. Stephen
Mayo
Campbell
take liberties in their own defence, and they've lost the ball. Stephen Campbell cuts through, and Campbell leaves us with a 1-point game.
Between the posts.
Stephen Campbell has had the second half of his life. 4 points now in this qualifier.
Well, it's incredible. Mayo did exactly the right thing. Went short, had runners going in different directions. Great pass to Brendan Harrison. They had possession of the ball, and when they went out to the wing again, they waited for the pass. Nobody went towards the ball. Again, poor decision making.
About 20 seconds left.
Just switching off for that moment.
And Armagh
have 20 seconds left.
From the kick out.
Clark goes long. This time takes no chances. O'Shea has caught Jamar Hall. We're into the 5th minute of additional time, and Morris Deegan is letting us play on a little longer.
Mayo 2:13.
Now do Armagh bring out Ethan Rafferty to hit this? Will Rian O'Neill have a go? Or will they try and engineer something? There couldn't be that long left.
Well, we've gone over the 4 minutes of injury time.
Just getting
and,
a little
I don't
bit
think there were any injuries since the 70th minute, so technically this could be the last kick of the game, or certainly be the last play.
Well, it's been another roller coaster ride of a championship match involving Mayo. Armagh have given every bit as good as they've got. That's Paddy McKeever, the Armagh selector there, just having a word in the ear of Niall Grimley as we tick towards the 6th minute.
Getting information from the sideline about the clock, no doubt.
Well, Armagh are in no major hurry. Grimley goes backwards, takes the return,
from way out the
looking to land the equaliser.
Wide of the target,
and it's wide.
And perhaps
was that Armagh's last chance
in the championship of 2019?
Well, Morris Deegan hasn't blown the full-time whistle, so this mini pitch invasion will have to be cancelled. Well, it happened, of course, in the Connacht final a few weeks ago.
So close, so tense.
Those young supporters
just about
can't contain their emotion.
Mayo
goes short, it's all over.
And
the great survivors live to fight another day.
Still in the championship. And
what a game of knockout championship football. And Armagh's best is just not good enough as James Horan and his team march on and into the next round of the All-Ireland qualifiers.
They will be relieved, but also delighted.
It was a game that took on a life of its own. We had everything and anything. Talking points and action aplenty, and it's finished.
Mayo
when the dust settled, Mayo 213, Armagh 115, a 1-point win for Mayo.